Welcome to our very last mock draft here on This Team is Killing Us. My name is Demetri Ravanos. We're doing something a little bit different today. We are mocking the entire first round of the NFL draft. And then afterwards, I will tell you what I would like to see the Panthers do at 33. Should they hold steady? I actually don't have a plan going into this. I wanted to do it in real time. I kind of have a base understanding of what each team needs, but really, I'll be reacting to the board in real time as I make these picks. So let's get started. We head over to the Pro Football Network mock draft engine. I was looking for a setting that would allow all trades to go through without much back and forth, just to keep things running smoothly, and maybe it comes up in the trade engine. But we can start pretty quickly, right? We know who the first three picks are going to be without much thinking. So let's send Caleb Williams to the Bears. Let's send Jaden Daniels to the Commanders. I think Drake May is better, but all signs point to Washington taking Jaden Daniels, and that leaves Drake May for the New England Patriots. At number 4, Arizona has said it is open for business and willing to trade this pick, but they want to be bowled over. To me, that means they are looking for a third pick in the first round. Remember, they have 4 and 27 by virtue of the trade with the Texans last year. I don't expect them to be bowled over. I think the only team that could make that move that is quarterback needy enough to be willing to is Minnesota. And I think Minnesota is going to hold out for number 5 with that in mind. So at number 4, let's give the best wide receiver, maybe the best player in this draft, Marvin Harrison Jr., to the Arizona Cardinals. And at number 5, we are going to get our first trade, and we're going to make it relatively straightforward, right? So we will have Minnesota making the offer to the Chargers, and the offer is going to be 2 number 1s, 11 and 23, to move up to number 5. And we have a deal, and we have brand new Vikings quarterback J.J. McCarthy as a result. Now things get interesting with the New York Giants. Wide receiver or offensive tackle, they have pretty good options at each position here. Whether they want to go Joe Alt, I think clearly the best tackle in this draft, or they want to go Malik Neighbors, one of those big 3 wide receivers. I think they are going to go Neighbors here. So I will put him at number 6, and that makes number 7 an easy choice for the Tennessee Titans as they get Notre Dame left tackle Joe Alt. Number 8 is where I think we see the first defensive player of this draft go. I'm just like everybody else. I think the Falcons are likely going to take defense if they keep the pick. But I am going to propose a trade here because with only Rome Odunze left of those big 3, I do think that Jacksonville is more wide receiver desperate, more alpha wide receiver, Z wide receiver desperate than Chicago is. So they are going to be willing to give up some significant draft capital. So we'll make it a 1 and a 2 this year, and next year's 3 to move up to number 8 and take the Falcons pick. Oh, the Falcons say no. So let's try this again. Let's go Jacksonville, Atlanta, and we'll keep the same rules. Only 2 attempts per trade. We'll go a 1 and 2 2s to move up to number 8 here for Jacksonville. It is not enough, so we will keep Atlanta there. And Atlanta could use a lot. They could go edge rusher. They could go cornerback. I wouldn't rule out necessarily them going wide receiver here. That's not what I think they'll do. With no trade done, why don't we go with Dallas Turner here? And the Bears get a wide receiver to go with their brand new franchise quarterback. So Caleb Williams will be throwing to Rome Odunze next season. And now the Jets are up. They need a pass catcher. I don't think Brian Thomas Jr. is going to go as early as number 10. So could they go Brock Bowers? Maybe, but I think they are going to go with Fashanu, the offensive tackle out of Penn State. He, on this board, is the best available player. He also, I think, makes the most sense because I don't think LA would have much to think about if he got to number 11. He is also one of those big 2 tackles in this draft, so I think that works for me. If I am the Chargers here and I am looking at a division rival picking behind me, knowing that the Broncos really need a pass catcher, the Broncos really need everything. They are not in position to get their quarterback right here. I would probably lean a little bit towards Brock Bowers. But that being said, I think a corner is more valuable to the Chargers. So why don't we go with Terry and Arnold here? And we can do a lot of different stuff with the Broncos. I don't think they want to trade out of this pick. They do not want to give Vegas the chance to take the quarterback that they want. I'm telling you what I think would happen, not what I would do. So I am actually going to mock Bo Nix here at number 12 going to Denver. I don't think this is a smart pick. I don't think Bo Nix is going to be the long-term answer at Denver. But when it comes to drafting quarterbacks, Denver seems to make the same mistake over and over again. Vegas is not going to pounce here on Michael Penix Jr. I think they are going to be smart about this, and they are going to take the best available option that fills their need, and that is Talise Fauga from Oregon State, the offensive tackle. New Orleans is up next. They also are offensive tackle needy, but I think they are open for business here, especially having as few of picks as they do. So this is where Jacksonville is going to make its move to get up and take their pass catcher. Offering a 1 and a 3 is not enough for New Orleans. So let's change that offer just a bit here to go a 1 and next year's 2. And that does it. And that is a no-brainer now for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They are moving up specifically to get Brian Thomas Jr., and they have their Z receiver probably for the long term. And also, they beat division rival Indianapolis to that. But not a problem for the Colts. They have a very strong pass catcher right there waiting for them in Brock Bowers. However, they could also make a big improvement here in their secondary with Quinyon Mitchell out of Toledo. I think they choose Bowers over Mitchell because Bowers is not your stereotypical tight end, right? He is more in the mold of a Travis Kelce, where he is that big body, game-changing type of wide receiver. That leaves Mitchell on the board for Seattle at number 16. At number 17, we have the Saints finally come up. They held on, and it worked out for them. They are able to get their tackle in Troy Fautanu from Washington there. Excuse me. Cincinnati is another team that I see as very much open for business because with their primary need being the interior of the lines, they don't necessarily have to take a first round pick. Certainly, they probably, if they're going to focus on defense first, they want to be in the higher end of the 20s. I look at who is available on the board here, and I see an opportunity for our division rivals, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, to move up and get exactly who they want. So let's offer 26 and 57 for 18. That is enough for the Buccaneers to move up and add Latu from UCLA, the edge rusher there. I saw a really interesting thing about the Buccaneers, that they are the team that could add at just about any position, and it is justified. I think the edge is still the overwhelming need. They seem married to Baker Mayfield, and they are pretty set at the pass catching group, which is the other place that I've seen talk that they may go. I think Latu is the obvious addition there. LA, the Rams, they need some help in the secondary. Is Nate Wiggins worth the jump? Is Kool-Aid McKinstry worth the jump? Or do they play it what I would call relatively safe here and get an offensive tackle? I think they do. I think they add J.C. Latham out of Alabama at number 19. And then the Steelers don't think twice at number 20. They jump on Amarius Mims from Georgia. Miami can be a little bit flexible here. The bigger need is on the interior of the offensive line, but they also have needs on the interior of the defensive line. And this is where I think we see our first defensive tackle go. Tavondre Sweat and Byron Murphy II made for probably the single most important group in Texas's excellent season this year. The defensive tackles caused so much disruption anytime Texas played a top tier opponent. I think Brian Murphy is the pick here. He is headed to Miami at number 21. At number 22, this is where we see one of the more talked about prospects in this draft. Cooper DeJean is going to go to Philadelphia. I think that he is a guy that has all the skills to play corner. You see a lot of talk about moving him to safety. I think that the secondary needy Eagles make a move here with a guy that they can play around with to figure out what is his best position in the NFL. And that brings us to another team that needs help in the secondary, and that is LA, who you see we already took care of in the previous round. So here's a question. Do they go with the best interior offensive lineman on the board, or do they trade back? Because I would say the Chargers, by virtue of that trade with the Arizona Cardinals, have put themselves in a position of power. Is this where the Panthers could trade up into the first round? I don't think the Panthers, if they have a wide receiver in mind, want to let too many more teams pick. I'm not sold on that is what would happen here. I also look down the list, and I think the only team that I could see moving up to grab an edge rusher in Jared Verse or Chop Robinson is probably Detroit. I am going to go with what I keep reading, which is Jim Harbaugh wants to reestablish the run in LA. Okay, so we're going to need help on the interior offensive line. Let's go with Duke center Graham Barton, who is really sort of a jack of all trades across the offensive line for Duke. I think that makes him very appealing in the first round for a whole lot of teams. And with Barton gone, now the Dallas Cowboys look at the board and they have a decision to make, because they are definitely going offensive line, unless this is where the we are all in for 2024 comes to pass and they trade this for a player. I don't know that that's going to happen. I think they have needs both at tackle and the interior. And I think when Jerry Jones looks at the board, it is going to be hard for him to pass up a tackle for a center. And so Tyler Guyton of Oklahoma is the pick there. Green Bay can be a little bit choosy with what it is they are going to do, because their biggest need is in the linebacking group. I think they are going to go with the secondary here. They don't have a need at edge rusher. They do have a need in the secondary. Nate Wiggins from Clemson provides them some pretty good value here. And now we are at Cincinnati. And this is where our other first-round defensive tackle, Johnny Newton, Jershawn Newton, as he was called during the regular season at Illinois, that is where he will call home. He is a Cincinnati Bengal now. And Arizona comes up. Arizona has their wide receiver. What do they need now? Well, I think they can play around. They could go Kool-Aid McKinstry here, but I think the value of Jared Verse is too great for them to pass up. If they are taking this pick. I don't think they are, though. I think this is where Carolina is going to make its move, because look at what we have before we make this trade. Let me just show you this. Look at what we have coming up in the draft. After Arizona picks, we have Buffalo needs a wide receiver. We have Detroit, could justify taking a wide receiver. We have San Francisco, could justify taking a wide receiver. And we have Kansas City, needs a wide receiver. So Carolina, a team that is very needy when it comes to wide receiver. Yes, the room is improved from where it was last season with the addition of Deontay Johnson. I don't think they view Deontay Johnson, though, as their long-term answer at wide receiver for that Z slot. So let's offer this year's number 33 and next year's third round pick for number 27. Not good enough. So we will have to do what I was kind of hoping to avoid, but I think it makes sense to get into the first round. 33 and 65 for 27. That is enough. That puts Carolina on the board, and I don't think they think twice about this. And I'm going to bring up his stats here. A.D. Mitchell offers Carolina size, He offers Carolina speed. He offers Carolina a real undeniable Z threat. I think that is the pick. A.D. Mitchell goes at number 27 to the Panthers, and that sets off a bit of a panic. Buffalo is going to pounce on Keon Coleman with the next pick. Although they can justify wide receiver, I think Jared Verse is too perfect a fit for Detroit to pass up. Wide receiver needy Baltimore goes Xavier Worthy, and now they have a guy that can go out and catch some of those deeper throws that they are letting Lamar Jackson uncork these days. At number 31, this one is interesting to me because either of the top two available guys, Chop Robinson or Kool-Aid McKinstry, make a lot of sense, I think. And I am going to go McKinstry because he is capable of being a shutdown corner. He's not going to pull in a lot of interceptions, but he is going to break up a lot of passes. He is capable of covering those Z receivers. So I'm going to put Kool-Aid at 31 to San Francisco. And at 32, Kansas City, I think, has to probably steer away from a wide receiver. I don't see them going to Lad McConkey here. Instead, I am going to give them Kingsley Suamataia, a big offensive tackle for to help protect Patrick Mahomes. Sorry for the brain fart there. So as a result of this now, we see the Panthers having to wait on day 2 until pick number 39, and there is plenty available for them. Let's pull up the actual results of our draft. There is plenty available for them to make a move on. I think that they are probably having addressed the wide receiver in the first round, not having a third round pick as part of this exercise. I think they have to pounce on a center, whether that is moving up to get Jackson Powers Johnson or holding tight for Zach Frazier. That would be my guess for pick number 39 for the Carolina Panthers. Enjoy the draft, everybody. Lauren and I will have a brand new episode out on Monday of This Team is Killing Us. Do me a favor, like, subscribe, leave a comment in the section below. Let me know what you think of our mock draft. Let me know what you thought of this series. I'd love to hear from you.